Sorry guys, I can't show the cap I was wearing. What is it gaming? Okay guys, mic test. Can you guys hear me? It is a bit awkward actually when when my thing is. Mic test, can you guys hear me? Yes. Yo, day 6, I need you're pushed, eh? Wait, as in like week day 6 of which week? Wait, day 6 as in like week 6? Or day 6 as in what? See ya? What you're playing with fire? Yo, you are far. You are far. Ish, am I playing on YouTube? Today I'll play music, eh? Monetization can wait. Okay, today we're doing calculator. I need to like, yeah, you'll catch up. You will catch up. Yes. Cool. Let me try this phone. I connected my mic. Oh, desktop, that's why. Is it better now? Yeah, I know music on YouTube is fine. Today I'm not taking monetization, it's fine. Just for this one. Okay, I know my mic is a bit close to those speakers, that's another thing. Let me play in my headsets. Switch it to headsets, it might be better. Okay, how's it now? I think it should be fine. But cool. Let's get started. What we want to do today is we want to do the calculator. Let me just pull up the email. Yeah, we are very behind. Maranakon, I don't have a lot of time today. I've got 2 hours for today. So I was just not feeling well at all. Alright, so week 6, we're doing a why am I saying calculator? Contact book. So if I can just show us how the contact book would look. Let's just see how it looks. So basically, what we'll be building is a contact book and the API stuff. If you've already watched the videos, we handle the API stuff here by a person just entering the email address. Then it will save it to the local storage. And after saving it to the local storage, then you can start using the contact book. So this is the email address if your email address doesn't work. So let's try my, no, okay, I don't want to put my email address there. So it's fine, we'll leave App Academies there. No, but my email address is there. Anyway, it's fine. It is fine. Okay, so if I put mine, looks like my email works. So my email also works. So once you've logged in, you can see all the contacts. This is now a get. So you're fetching all of these. Thank you so much for the rows. And after that, you can add a contact, have a profile picture, whatever, save the contact. Then you can also delete a contact as well. So that's what we'll be building. So I've changed the UI a bit compared to what App Academy did or IT Varsity did, as you can see it here. But yeah, this is what we'll be going through. So I won't go through this at all. I'll just basically speak on basic. I've split it up into these lessons, but we'll go through it step by step together. Are we good? Guys can still hear me, right? My camera is also so close. Yo, I don't like it. Alright, cool. Let's get started. What did someone say? We can hear you clearly. Oh, perfect. Right, let's move on. So, what had happened is I lost my. Okay, this music is a bit loud for myself. I lost my license to my virtual machine, so I am not paying for that thing. So I don't have a license to the virtual machine right now. So I'm using my own. I'm using the actual device as is now. So we'll just continue on Mac. I won't be doing the git stuff. We should be familiar with that for now. So we should be familiar with the git stuff. So what we'll do now is, where's the page now? Not PyCharm. Oh, there we are. Okay, so now what we'll be doing now, we'll create a new project. If you're on VS Code, it will be yeah. You should know by now. By now, you should know. That's what I'm trying to say. Just for now, until I get a license back. So we'll do week 6 contact book. Okay. So you can do it as an empty project if you're using WebStorm, whatever. But whatever, obviously it will be empty. So we'll just say open up this. Then it will load the project. Where's TikTok? TikTok, we're good. I need to contact you about the setup. Question: what was the other one? You can add your own feel. Uh, yeah, you can add your own feel. So, sorry guys, you the chat I can't see. So I'll try and split up the windows so I can see it a bit better. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I can see the chat as well. YouTube chat, TikTok chat. So this is a newish setup, so it's a bit difficult. Okay, now I can't see YouTube chat. Okay, there we go. Ish, no teas and coffees in hand. Okay, yeah, you can make him feel. Hey Sims, how you feeling today? I'm feeling much better. Felt better yesterday, but yeah, today I'm almost at 100%. I was even at work, so much better. Cool. Let's get started. We've got enough people. Oh, this is a bit it was so much better with the other one. Alright, cool. So what we'll do, we'll open up and create three files. The first file we'll be creating is index.html. Then the second file would be our style.css. And the third one will be our script.js. Cool. So that's what we have. Now what we want to do is, uh, I don't know how you guys are feeling looking at time. If you want us to just go straight into the HTML or quickly go through writing the CSS and then we move on to the HTML, because we're already on Wednesday, so we are a bit behind. Yes, I'll show you. All you have to use is actually their email address, but there's a certain way you have to do it, Mox. So even me, I had an issue. I had to ask IT Varsity as well to help me, because I was also struggling with it. But yeah, they ended up assisting me as well. So I'll show you what we do there. What is this thing doing now? So value no monetization on this. It's fine. Sorry guys, this new setup is also giving me. Hey, it's interesting. Cool. uh, so what are you guys suggesting? Should we just go to the CSS, finish it? We're doing the exact same things we've done, so I don't expect them to be too much questions. Just just so we can have our CSS done and dusted, then we move on to this to the structure. Is that fine? It's fine. Let's do CSS first. Cool. Let's just go through it, okay? So I know by now we should be good, so let's just go straight into it. First thing we'll do is just reset all our styling. We'll do that. Okay, wait, you guys can't see, I'm sure. Should be able to see it now. Perfect. So we'll start with the margin 0, padding 0, and then we'll just have a box sizing. We'll use border box. So that's what we're doing for our global styling. Then what we'll now do is we'll just set our body to have a certain font and some background, as well as our maximum height. So we'll do our font family. Please do let me know if I'm going fast, because I know I'll feel like I wanna rush, but I shouldn't rush. So just do let me know if I'm going too fast. Font family. For our family, we'll use Arial, sans serif. Then we'll have a background. Mox, are you saying yes? Or are you saying yes because I'm going too fast? So the color will be a 667. Color will be 667 EEA, and then 0%. Then we'll have hashtag 764BA2. This is a bit big. Yes, you are going fast. Okay. Askisin, guys. Let's okay, cool. That's obviously the global styling. We're just resetting everything, and then we're now doing some of our body styling. So our body will have font family. Then font family is an Arial sans serif, and then a background will be using a linear gradient. This linear gradient will be 135 degrees, and then hashtag 667 double EA, which is the color, 0%. And then this will be hashtag 764BA2, 100%. So that's what we've done for the color. Alright, the background color. Then the next part is the minimum height. So we'll set the minimum height, and the minimum height will be 100 view height. VH is for view height. Okay, so that's the entire view height of the actual browser. Then the next part will be a padding. Yeah, we'll have 20 pixels for our padding. So that's all we have for our body. Cool. So it's font family, it's our background, minimum height, and then our padding. Cool. So now the next part is we'll do a dot container. So we'll have a container. And this will have a maximum width of 800 pixels. So we're basically saying that this container will not pass 800 pixels in width. That's what we are saying here. And then we'll have a margin, 0 auto. Then a background. The background of the container will be white. Alright. And then we'll have a border radius. Border radius will be 15 pixels. Oh, yes, to start with CSS. Okay. Border radius will be 15 pixels. Then the box shadow. This will be a 0 horizontal effect, 10 pixels vertical effect, 30 pixels blur radius, and then RGBA, which will be 0, 0, 0, 0.2 with our alpha mode. Thank you so much, I appreciate you. Cool. Then our overflow will be hidden. Cool. That's what we have for the container. Let me see. When I see this live, this side, I can't type that fast, lol. Oh, ASCII scene. That's what we have for the container. Oh, you might be hearing. Okay, let's move on to the next part. I hope we could now. The next part is our header. So do a header, and this will have a background, and this will use a linear gradient, and the linear gradient will be 45 degrees, and we'll have the colors as hashtag FF6B 6B. Second color will be hashtag EE5A 24. EE5A 24. Okay, then the next one will be the color. Question: would it rather be better I upload the CSS so we do the HTML? Because I don't think it's like a necessity per se. I'm just thinking of time because there's still JS. What do you guys think? Upload the CSS, then you guys quickly just download that. Like copy paste that. I don't know how what you guys think about that. Thank you so much, BQ. Appreciate you. Upload the CSS, nah? That makes more sense, cause yeah, I say is practice on CSS or no. The problem is there's no time. We're already on Wednesday. That's what I'm thinking about. And if you notice on the App Academy, they didn't even do CSS. They didn't even do CSS. That's the thing. Because if you see, it's about how many lines? 226 lines. It's about 226 lines. So are we in agreement? That'll be a bit faster. Okay, cool. We're in agreement. Yes, remember it's still the same concept. It's now added design. That's all we've done. Like we've just changed it up a bit. That's all we've done. Okay, cool. Let's quickly. Save notebook. Please save it to notebook so you can come at it. What is notebook? Do you want like the file? Do you want like the file itself? Okay, let's do this. Hey. Okay. Let's have a new one. Okay, I'll just upload it to a Google Drive. Then I'll do a QR code now. CSS week 6. Okay, this is the QR code. That is the QR code for this one. So you can just download the CSS there. Oh, Notepad. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you can just download it here. Wait, can you not see anything? Is it my TikTok or you can't see anything? Oh, it's my TikTok. Okay, you can download it there. It's also on the repo. Uh, yes. It is downloadable on GitHub. What is it? github.com/simisips. Hi, Berry Berry, Belly Belly. Unjani Belly Belly. Thank you so much for the heart, me. Okay, let this thing load so we can continue. We'll go straight to the. Okay, is everyone good with the CSS? It's on the GitHub as well as the link which I was showing now. This QR code. So it's on the GitHub as well as on this QR code. You can just scan it and download it. Are we all good? Can we resume? Can we resume? Just waiting for a thumbs up from you guys. Quick ask. Yes, you can ask. Sawubona Lisa, unjani? Guys, are we good? Can we continue? Do we need to submit to GitHub? Checking the progress. I mean FNB. Do we need to submit to GitHub for checking the progress? I mean FNB. I think they'll let you guys know exactly what the process will be. So I'm not too sure what the process is at the moment, but I think they'll let you know exactly what the process will be as to what we need to do. Let's roll. Perfecto. Okay, if anyone wants it. Where are we? Just downloaded the repo. Okay. Should be empty like this. No script, but with some CSS. Yes. Yeah, but basically what the CSS is doing, you've got your body, doing some changes to the body, the container which we'll go through as well, header, then changing the typography of the headers, and then we've got some content. This is for when we have the API setup page. So this is just information of the API setup page. Then we've got some forms. So the form is basically whatever the input would be of the API email address, and then the buttons. Then yeah, just some basic buttons, secondary etc, and then your contact card, and loading, errors, and success. And then you've got when something is hidden, when you want to make it hidden, you make display none. And yeah, this is now media query, so this is to make it responsive. So in a max width of 768 pixels, this is the different styling that happens to this to all the different elements included in here. Cool, so we can move on to the HTML. All right, so obviously the first thing we'd have to do, I know in if you were in VS Code, it would have added the hi Tando, thank you so much for the hot me. If you're in VS Code, it would have added all the different information, all the different informations of your browser. Of the HTML document. Yo, yeah, where's my mind? Cool. So here we'll say this is week 6 contact book. This is now APIs. So now we're learning APIs. What was that? Oh, thank you so much for the popular vote, Tando. Okay, let's fix that. Cool. So what we need to quickly do is link our CSS. Please zoom in. Is not zoomed in enough. Ish chat might be also a bit destructive there. Is it big enough? Is that delayed? That is so delayed. Okay, it looks like it's delayed. Oh, that's fine. Okay, cool. Let's link our CSS. So link rel style sheet, and we're just doing a style.css. So we're happy with that. So cool. The first thing we'll do here is we'll work on adding a div, and we'll give this a class of container. Alright, so we'll give this the class of container, and then in this div we'll have the first section, which will be a header. So this will be a header. Alright, then this header is basically our, reduce the chat a bit if it's possible. Chat Nati, we're gonna exclude you for now. Actually, yeah, for now, let's hide it. It's fine. We'll just hide it for now. Askisi in chat. Chat yase YouTube. Cool. Okay, so what we need to do now is we focusing on our header. So do I have the screenshot? Hey, that's gonna open like 20,000 things. Oh, I knew it. Yeah, so what we want to do is do this header. This is the header we are working on right now. Okay, so working on this header up here. So for us to do that, we'll have our header section, and in our header section we'll just add an h1. Then if you're on, what is it, on Mac, you can add emojis, so it just makes it, yeah, so you can just add an emoji. You don't have to add it, but yeah, that's if you have the luxury of adding it. And then we'll just say contact book. If you're on Mac, you wanna know how to do that. It's control command space, control command space. Cool. Then the next part is paragraph. Then in this paragraph, we're just writing some text to explain our heading, or to explain the app. So this is manage. So we're just saying you can manage your contacts with our simple API powered app. That's all. So it's just adding some information. It's not a necessity, but it's basically us adding this specific part of the app. So this is what your header is. All right, cool. Now the next part is for us to work on the content. So the content being what is inside here. So there were two sections. There was your API part where you want to use it to add an API. Then the second part was this actually seeing the contacts, your contacts. So here we'll add a div with the class of content. So you see a nice thing about WebStorm, it sees all the different classes I've added in my style sheet, and I can just reference them even though I haven't created the classes per se yet. Hence, you should get WebStorm playing. Cool. So this is us doing content, right? So this will first be our API setup page. So this will be where we have our page that sets up the API. So how a person can just, we don't want any random person to use an API without being authenticated. So your API key, your authentication between IT Varsity's API as well as you, is your email address. So having that email address is basically telling the API to say, okay, I'm allowed to use this API. Here's my key. So it's giving you access to do all the different functions within that specific API. So, so for the API setup, we'll first have a div in here. We'll give it an ID of setup page. Okay, this is for JavaScript. Then we'll give it a class. So this is a page, and it will start as active. So that basically says that this page is currently active. So we'll remove this class when it's no longer active and add it to the next page, being the main contacts page. Okay. Now the next part is us adding our div, and this will have a class, and this class will be API setup. So it will be a div with a class of API setup. Cool. And this API setup will just have some text to say that an API is required. So we'll add a heading. So we'll add an h3, and then in this h3, again, privileges. So we want an API key, so you can just add a key, and then we're adding API setup. required. So you're just letting the user know that this is where you now need to enter or set up your API. So you can give the user some instruction. So we'll just add a paragraph here to say before you use the contact book, please enter your API key below. If you don't have one, so if you don't have one, you can use. So I don't know, basically what they're saying is if your email address is not working, there's an email address that they've provided that you can use as an API key, which will allow you to still do the same functions since you don't have a specific API key being your email address. So here we'll just add a strong, and then this strong will be, okay, let's add it in the next line because we've got a lot. The strong will be app academy at itvarsity.org. App academy at itvarsity.org. Cool. So what we're saying to the user is, okay, so if you don't have an API key, then you can use this as our API key, so you can still use our application. So if we can have a quick look at how it looks so far. Who said go there? Oh, where is this thing now? Oh. So this is what we have so far. So this styling would already be done for you because we all copied the CSS, right? So now we've got that little heading that shows, okay, the API is required, and before you use it, then here's some information. You can just use the specific email address. Cool. So that's what we've done so far. We're still good, of course, right? This was just basic stuff. I hope it's still good. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Now in this same setup, we want to have a div, right? Sorry, we want to have a div in the same API set, in the same setup page. We want to add another div. This div will be dealing with the input, so what the user is actually entering, right? So what the user is entering is an email address, and how do we capture that? We capture that using an input, right? So we'll add a div with a class of form group. We'll add a div with the class of form group, and then in here we'll first add a label so we can label our input, right? So we'll just say this label is for the API key input. So for now it won't show anything because we haven't created the ID yet. So it's basically telling us, you know, it can't find this ID. I don't know what it does on VS Code again, but yeah. So we'll just enter our label, and our label is us just saying enter your API key. So you can just say email address. So that's just to hint to the user that, hey, your API key is basically your email address. That's what you're basically doing there. Now you can add the input. This input will be a type, and the type will be email because we're expecting an email address from a person, right? So since we're expecting an email address, this will be type of email. Then the ID will be API key input, and then we'll have a placeholder. Then this placeholder will be whatever. You basically just adding a placeholder to say this is how it looks, right? So you can just say your email at example.com, right? And then what we will add here, we want to pre-populate for the user the App Academy email address in case they don't have it, right? So when they log in or when they come in, it will automatically be done for them and they can just click on enter. But there's no need to actually do that because as you see how it is now, this is how it looks. So it's not pre-populated, so you could leave it like this, or you could add a value, then it will pre-populate for the user the actual value of this, but let's maybe leave it like this so a user can actually enter it themselves. It's fine, so we'll keep it like that. We're still good, right? Okay, I hope we are still good. Then after this div, the form group div, right? After the form group div, we want to add a button below it. So I want to add a button, and we'll give this a class of btn, and then we'll add an on click, and then on click we want to run a function that we will create called setup API key. Okay, so this will set up our API key. So on WebStorm, it's basically saying that, hey, I don't know where this thing is, I can't find it, but yeah, don't worry about that. Then again, just to make it look a bit nice, right, we can add another uh since we're blasting off, what is it, rocket or spaceship? Yeah, it's rocket. So you can add like a rocket, and then we say start using contact. So we start using contact book. So basically now I have a button that says start using contact book. So as you can see, all the effects already done because via the CSS, right? So now we've got start using contact book, but obviously this does nothing at the moment. Are there any questions? Are we still together? Are we still together before we move on to the next part, which is the main page? Can I get thumbs up? Okay, I'm gonna continue. Uh, oh, thumbs up, one thumbs up. Cool. So we are now done with this. Oh, good, perfect. So we're now done with this specific this page. So this is the API setup page, right? So this entire div, you see what's highlighted in red? So see, another nice thing, it highlights all the different divs so you don't miss which is which. So you see what's highlighted in red, we're done with this div. Now below the setup div, we move on to a new one. Okay, below that div, we're now opening another div here. So this, what we will say, is our main contacts. Oh, there's a delay, that's why it's taking forever. I forget about this delay. How long is it? Skip frames detected. Ooh, over 2 minutes. Okay, I think it's me. Yeah, my machine needs a refresh. Cool. So now we're gonna work on our main contacts page, right? So basically, what we'll do is when a user logs in here, once they're done with this, we want to take them to a new page, but on here. So instead of them being redirected to a new like page, HTML page, we can render different divs as pages. So this is the approach we're taking here. Let me show you. So now the next part, we'll add another div, and this will have an ID of contacts page. Okay, then it will have a class. It's not in there. We'll have a class of page, right? So it has a div. It's a div. Take develops road apps. Yes. Thank you so much, Rafiwa. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Under which div are we? Uh So after the setup div, so if you minus the setup div, we're now in between, we're still in between the content div, but just below. You're on week 1. Yo, I think we must do like a day where we just help people catch up. We just help people catch up. Cool. Like a whole day. Yo. All right. So you must be between. So it's after the div of the setup page, but in the content div, right? So I don't know if you can see. If you minimize the content, what's this, the setup page div, you'll see where to actually add it. It's after that. Are we good? You minimize on the side, you can see like arrows if you hover by a div. I hope it does that as well. Ish, VS Code, guys, not the best. Ish, you can hear everything I say actually. Alright, cool. So we're now adding. We're now adding the context page, right? So here we'll add a div. Got it, perfect. We'll add a div and then we'll just do some inline styling. So this inline style will have a display, and this will be a display flex. All right, and then we justify display flex. Then we justify content space between. Justify content space between. Then we align items. Let's maybe move it to a new line. So we align items to the center, and then we'll just have a margin bottom of 20 pixels, and then we'll flex wrap. This will be a wrap, and then we'll have a gap of 10 pixels, and then you can close your div. So this is just some inline styling for the specific div only. Alright, then in the div, right, we'll add an h2. This is a heading to say your contacts. This is your contacts, right? Then this will have a div, and then we'll add 2 buttons, right? So now what contacts? So this will be a div with a button. Then this button will have a class of btn, which is button. Then we'll make it a secondary button. Then its on click will be a refresh, because the button will be a refresh, right? So on click we say refresh contacts. Cool. And then you can just say refresh. Again, it's all about whether you want to add it or not. Conjure, is it? Something like that, yeah, it's fine. Alright, should be using the other screen. Okay, this will we'll have a class of btn, and this will be a button success. So just to change the color, button success is the green one, this one, right? So all we'll do, we'll also add an on click here, and then here we'll just say show add contact. So that will be the function that will be running there, add contact. And then here you can just write add contact. So this is just to add some, some visuals to the actual app, make it look a bit modern. That's literally all we're doing there. But cool. So we should have, okay, we won't see it here because it's not the active one. But cool. Let me see, YouTube is still fine. Cool. We're still good, right? Hope we're still good. So now we'll move out of div, the specific one with the inline styling, and just below it we'll add another div. So this will now be where our contact list will render, right? So we'll give this a class, sorry, an ID. We'll give it an ID of contacts list, okay? And we'll have a div ish. We'll have a div of loading with the class of loading. And then all we have is a loading message, so loading contacts. So this is when the service call is still being made. Basically when you are still interacting with the API, normally when there's low speeds, so if it's still taking some time to get to you, basically it's still in a loading state. So we're just catering for the loading states. So if someone's internet's a bit slow and it's loading, then at least there's something they're seeing and not just a blank screen. So they will be seeing loading there. Then obviously whatever's in here will be replaced in the JavaScript. So that's it for our main context page. Any questions? Oh, I think I'm moving away from it. How do I hide this thing? Am I way too fast? I think it's because I think I'm like behind. It's because I think I'm behind. How do I hide this thing again? What did I do? Oh yeah, disable sticky lines. What is that soft drop thing I just did? Oh. Screen's also a bit bigger. Cool. Are we together? I know Mox is saying I'm too fast today. Today I'm too fast. I thought I'm a bit behind. Nakona, I've got until 10. Then we're ending this. Maybe tomorrow we'll start at 7. 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, yeah. We're good. Okay, now let's continue. Right. Okay, now we're moving below the context page. So this specific div. So let's just minimize these two so we can see. So after this main context div, we're having another div here. And this div will have an ID of contacts. Add contacts page. So this will be our add contacts page. I can't repeat the lesson. Okay, maybe we can like go over the first parts, but repeating the entire lesson, no, Rose. We won't. But it is recorded. It's gonna be on YouTube. It will be on YouTube. Yeah. I'm just sad I actually played music today and I didn't care about monetization. Crazy. Okay. So this is our add contact page, right? So this will be where our add contact page is. So I hope we can still see the difference between the divs, right? I hope we can still see which div we are on. So oh, you can't see the YouTube one here anymore. So this will have a class of page again because it's a page, and then now we're working in here. Okay. So here we now need to look at what do we require for, what is it now? What do we require to have this specific contact, right? So they are basically an API requires certain fields for it to be an API requires certain fields for it to actually perform its function, right? So let's say with the API of add contact, right? Where is it? Let me try and open it again. Week 6 simple. So basically, for add contact, we need to have certain fields fulfilled for us to actually now send it to the API and get a response, right? So basically, the API is the middleman between the user and the service in the backend. So the API says, okay, I require this, or the backend says, I require this, tells the API, and whenever you tell the API you want something, it tells you that you need to send me this in order to fulfill whatever I need to give to backend. Backend will give it back to me, I'll give it back to you. So the API is the middleman to say, okay, um, what was the bits? There was a nice picture on, what is it? On Reddit. Uh, API meme restaurant. I think it was this one. Yes. So basically, if you look at this picture, okay, I don't know why they use that, but if you look at this picture, you've got the backend being IT Varsity's. How to open this image? So the backend is basically IT Varsity's API right now, right? Or whatever, wherever they're storing the data, that's the backend. Wherever they're storing the data is the backend, right? Then when you look at this is the front end. This is what the user is seeing. So this is our site. This is the front end. The API is basically the waiter who says, "Can I take your order?" Takes it to the backend, being the data, and gets you your order, brings it back to you. So it does the interaction between backend and front end. So it moves between both, right? Basically, what it is. So I thought we do need to explain that on what the API actually is. So hence, we now come up with this part to say, okay, what do we need to send the API, right? So that we can get something. So we need to send a first name, we need a last name, we need a mobile number, we need an email address, and a profile picture is an optional field, meaning they don't have to add a profile picture. There's a default profile picture that will be returned if there's no profile picture provided, right? So this is what we need to look at. Cool. So that's what we need to add now. So how do we do this? We now look at, okay, we need to have a form, right? So we need to create a form. So let's first now create our navigation button. So we want to be able to navigate back to contacts while we're here, so we can go back, move back and forth. So let's move. So now what we're gonna do is we'll add a button. Then this button will be with the class of btn, and then btn secondary, and we'll have this. Thank you for the explanation. Understood. Perfect. So we'll have this as a back button. So we're giving it the class back button. Then we're saying on click, there'll be a function we run to say show contacts. So it's basically us taking us. Sorry. Ish, I forget the mic is like right there. I'm sorry about that, guys. Okay, so this will just take us to the contacts page, right? Cool. So that's our on click show contacts. And then we now add the information here. So we'll just add back to contacts. Then there's an arrow you can just add. Alright, that's the button, right? So now let's add the heading. So the heading will be an H2 and we'll say add new contact. Alright, so this will just be a heading of H2, add new contact. Then what we'll do now is we'll add a form. Okay, so we'll add a form. This form will have an ID. This ID will be of add contact form. And we want that on submit. So when this form has been submitted, we want to run a specific function. So the function we'll be running is add contact. So the function we'll run is add contact, and we want to just take the event happening. So this we're passing in the event into the add contact, right? So the event is of basically the event represents an event which takes place in DOM. So basically that being the submission of the form itself, we're passing that information into the function. Then we'll be doing more with that in the function itself, but we'll get to that. So we're just doing the base HTML at the moment. So now what we'll do is we'll group these in divs. So each div will have a label and an input type, right? So the first thing we can do is just have a div, and we'll give it a class of form group. And then what we'll have is a label. So the label will be what it's for. So we'll say for we'll call it first name. We'll call it first name, and we'll label it first name. And then after that we'll have the inputs, and this input will be a type of text. So we're not asking for an email address right now. We're just gonna do type of text. Okay, and then we'll have an ID as well, and the ID will be first name. Cool. And the name of this will be first name, and we want this to be required. So this is something that will be required, meaning if the user does not enter this in the form, it will show a pop-up to show the user that this is a required field. They need to enter something. So after creating this, instead of having to write all of this again, we have how many fields? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields, right? So this is the first field. So all we'll do is we'll copy this field, then we'll paste it 4 more times. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. So first name, that's fine. So this one will be last name. So this is just so that we don't have to type it all again. So we'll change that to last name. Make sure everything is changed. Cool. So we've got last name done. Then the next part will be mobile number. So here we'll have mobile. Then it will add mobile number. So we want a mobile number, say mobile. And then we say mobile. Cool. Then the next part, oh, we forgot one thing here. When I change this for the next one, this will be our email address. So this will be our email address. So we can say email, change this to email as well. ID will be email, and then the name will be email. All right. Then the last part will be your profile picture. So I have profile picture. Thank you so much, Carl, for the hot me. Appreciate you. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Okay. Obviously, like we said, profile picture is optional. So we can just show the user in a hint that it's optional. So we can just call this avatar. Um, Avatar. Cool. And the type here must be file because we want to upload a file, right? So the type here will be file. And remove required because it's not required. And there's a certain file type we want to accept. So there's this attribute that you can add to say accept. This will be accept all, right? But we want to accept images, right? So image forward slash star, meaning all image types. You could say I want to accept an image, right? And the only image I want to accept is a PNG as an example. So any other thing than a PNG will not be accepted. So if someone adds a JPG, it will not accept uploading or adding this onto this field. So this is what this specific attribute does. So we say yes, we want images, but we want to allow any type of image to be uploaded, right? So that's what this line is for. So it's a good thing to know or to note for future projects. It's a good thing to know for future projects where you wanna do certain stuff with logins or certain stuff with uploads. You can see the different types that you can actually work with or accept. Cool. Are we still together? Okay, I hope we are. Let's move. Cool. Now the next part we wanna add is if we move here, we'll see these buttons. So when I add these buttons now, right? So we'll first add. Thank you so much, Tumelo. Yeah, you are a bit late, and I'm ending at 10. I'm ending it at 10. So we'll have a button of type submit. So this is a submit button, and we'll give it a class btn success. This will be btn success. Thank you so much, Karma, for the popular votes. This will be btn success, and we want this button to say save contact. Let's see. Cool. And then we'll have another button here. This will be a type button. Then we'll give this a class of btn and then btn secondary. Then on click, we'll say show contacts. So basically, if someone presses on cancel, we take them back to show contacts, right? So cancel. Cool. Are we all together? My thing is to charge. Alright, cool. Just needed to charge quickly. We good, guys? Feedback? Yes, no, maybe. This is week 6. This is week 6. Okay, guys. Tumelo, this is week 6, nah? Cool. But now, another thing, we want to do this edit, right? But if you look at edit, it looks exactly the same as our ad, right? So all we'll do is we'll just copy it and make some changes. So we'll copy the entire page and make some changes. So let's do that. So we can minimize this. So this is just to move a bit faster. So this is edit contact page. Then here we change this to edit. Okay, then to fix all the errors, firstly this is edit contact. Then this still applicable because it's show contact, it's go back. Then the next part here, we want to edit contact form. Edit contact form. And now we'll have a class or a function called update. Because now we're updating, we're not adding. Right? Update. Then, one thing we'll quickly add here is input, right? And this will be a hidden input. This will be the ID. And the ID is basically edit contact ID. So this is for when we send to the that we use to send via the API, right? So we don't need the user to see the ID, so we just have it there but hidden, right? So we'll just edit everything. So obviously for first name now needs to be edit capital F, edit first name. Then you can just copy that, paste it there, and then that can stay as first name, it's fine. Then also this will be edit last name, capital L. Copy that, paste it there, and then this will be edit mobile, edit capital M. Copy it and paste it in the ID. Then this will be edit email. Copy it there, and then paste it. Then you've got edit avatar. Copy it and paste it right there. Cool. Then all now we have to do is change this to say update contact, and cancel will stay the same. So it was exactly the same, just had to change a few things, right? Are we still together? Are we still together? Are we still together? Thumbs up. Yes, we are. Okay, perfect. YouTube, because this is our last part. Now we're moving to JS. Okay, I'm moving. TikTok is good. YouTube is quiet. Cool. So firstly, we'll do a quick commit and push our changes. Mm, Okay, whoever wants to catch up, everything is on the repo for now. So we've got our index.html. So the entire index.html is there. So you can just get all, if you stuck somewhere, you can get it on the GitHub right now. So that's Simisip's week 6 contact book. As well as the CSS is also there. It's just no JS at the moment. CSS is there as well. Alright, cool. Now let's move on to the hard stuff. Cool, so let's add a script, right? This will be our script.js. So we just add it before our body, just tagging our script there, or linking our script rather. Then we can start working on our script. Cool. So we're moving to our script.js. Let's see how big the text is. Perfect. Right, so the first thing we'll have here is we'll set some global variables. So these are variables we'll be using throughout the entire script, right? Meaning they're available to each function wherever, right? So the first one is we want to have our API key. API key being whatever the user will enter, right? But for now, did I freeze? I froze. Oh, I'm back. Okay. Basically, our API key will be something a variable will store once we get it, right? So for now, we don't have an API key. So we can store an empty string, but the reason we're using let is because we're going to update it later. So the value of this will be updated later, right? So now we'll have another one called const, and this will be the root path, meaning our API, where our API is stored, right? So the root path is HTTP, it's a string, so it's HTTPS. Okay, good, okay. It's HTTPS forward slash. It's my site dot itvarsity dot org dot API .org /API /contact book, capital C, capital B, ended with a / and semicolon. So that is our root path for the API we'll be using. Okay, cool. So like I said here, we have a variable that will change. So we're using let because it will change. And we're setting that variable to an empty string for now because once we get the API key, we will set the API key to this specific variable and it will be used across the entire script. So it's global. It can be accessed by any function, not within a specific function. Okay, then the root path is where the API is. So this is the location of the API. So this is the URL of the API itself. All right, now let's start with doing the first function. This one is for us to check if our API key exists when the page loads. So the first thing we'll do here is when the page loads, we want to see if our API key already exists, right? So create a function to do that. So we'll have function. We'll have functions and the name of the function will be check API key. Check API key. That'll be the name of the function. There's no need for a parameter because we're not putting in something, we're just doing a specific function, like we're running something, right? So first thing we'll do is we'll set a constant variable called stored API key. So this will not be us getting the API key if it's there and storing it to this specific stored API key. So this will check if our local storage has anything. So we'll have stored API key, which is constant in this specific function only, and we'll set it to local storage, right? local storage dot get item, and the key is basically how we would have saved it. So if we save the key as API keys, we get it using API keys. So we'll save it as API key, as exactly like this: small letter A, capital K, API key. So that's the key we are expecting, and that's the key we are looking for. Now after that, we want to check that if our stored API key, meaning if there's something in here which would be if it's true, then we want to set our API key, which is this variable up here, to the stored API key. So whatever the value of the stored API key is, we're setting it to our API key variable up here. That's what we are doing at the moment, right? And once that is done, there will be two functions we'll add here to show contacts and then get contacts. So what we'll do is we'll run functions to show a context page and then get our contacts. So for now we'll just add the functions show contacts, so it's not created at the moment, and then get our contacts. So this is show contacts page. Basically you want to show the contacts page, then we want to now do the API call to get the contacts, right? So this is API call and this is show page, just so you remember what is. Still together? Shut. Atufune Balenciaga. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Is that a new yes? Oh, I don't know. Just want to make sure you guys are all sorted. Getting an error. Hi, is this week 6? Yes. Okay. Do we type AP? Oh, this is. I see. I see. So whenever you see these colon string stuff, please don't write it. It's my IDE just showing me the type. Ish. I can't. I don't even know. What is it? Oh, okay. I was able to disable it. Oh, but how would I get it back? Sorry, guys. I did not notice. So ignore all of those. Wherever you saw those stuff, just remove them. It's just like yeah, it's something that shows up here. But how would I put it back on for my stuff? It's fine. I'll find it. I'll find it. Oh, good. Does it show up here? Yeah. So don't add this stuff like that. Sorry, guys. Are we fine now? Let's continue. So this is us checking the API key, right? So what we will have is we want to be able to store the API key locally, which is not a good thing, but just for this, please do not do this in live production stuff. Don't have a better way, okay? But sure. Um, so we will have our API key up here, or we store our API key in a local storage. But right here, what we're doing is we're just checking and getting it. So if it's there, then we assigning it to what our API key is, meaning this will now have the value of whatever was stored in the local storage. So we'll get to that part where we're actually storing it, and then we'll run these two functions. So if we go there, let us continue. So now what we want to do is to set up the API, set up the API key and store it. So when I set up the API key, we'll set the API key and store it, rather. And then what we'll do here is we'll have another function. Then this function will be called set API key. Set API key. We're not putting in any, we're not expecting anything from it. So we're not gonna add a parameter here. Then the next part here is when I have a constant variable. So this will be a const. Oh, what's happening here? So we'll have a const of input API key. So this will be us getting the value of our input field. So we have an input field that we created to get our API key. So we'll have document dot get element by ID, and what we're gonna get here is our API key input. Please do not add this element ID whatnot. This is as a hint. Please don't add it. Don't add element ID, this element ID colon. It's just a hint. You're just adding. Maybe I can disable, right? Ish, but guys, yo, I better be able to still remember putting these things back together. Okay, so after that, we want to get the value of the specific input, right? And we'll just do a trim. So this is so we remove any white spaces. So if someone added like a space after, sometimes when you autofill, your, I can't do it here now. Oh, maybe here. But a white space is basically like when you autofill and maybe it added like one space. So we're just trimming to remove all of that. So when we're sending the API key, it's exactly with no white spaces or stuff like that, right? Now what we're gonna check here, we'll say if this is null. So basically we're checking if not input key, meaning if it's not there, then what we want to do is alert the user by showing them a message to say please enter an API key. Right, please enter an API key. Now I'm using WebStorm. Not VS Code. Alright, so this will be an alert the user will see, then we just return. So return the function. Alright, are we still good, guys? Answer my question. Okay, let's continue. So now what we want to do is we want to validate the API key. So for us to do that, what we'll do here is we'll do a fetch. So there's a function, a JavaScript function for a fetch where we can do HTTP methods, right? So what we'll do is we'll first put our root path being what we've set up here. So it will input our root path, and then we'll add the endpoint we want to go to, right? Which will be controller forward slash API key, and forward slash the parameter is API key is equal to whatever we're entering here. So this will be plus input API key. So let me just explain what this is doing, right? So what this is doing, it's now gonna take this. So ignore this part. It's gonna take this specific the specific URL and then append this as well. So it will now look like that. Then it will add whatever the user entered there. So if the user entered sims at gmail.com, this is how it would look. And this is the API this is basically what will be sent. So this is basically what we're now sending to the specific API. So we're saying we want you to go through. No, the code won't come out wrong. Even if you're using VS Code, it's exactly the same. This is just a matter of preference. So what it's doing, it's moving to this endpoint called controller, and this controller has an endpoint called API key, which also accepts a parameter. Parameters you see by this question mark. So when you see this question mark, it means you are now entering a parameter, right? So this parameter is of API key, and the API key is equal to sims at gmail.com. So this is now what this is doing. Basically, it's going through, it's adding our root first, then doing the endpoint and assigning whatever the user entered as the API key. So now this will validate. So whatever we get from the API as a response will tell us whether this was a correct API key or not. So dot fetch has another thing called dot then. So you're basically saying once this fetch is done, do something. So then I want you to now return. You want to learn CSS. For you can watch the YouTube. We did CSS quite a few times. You can watch my YouTube channel and you'll see some CSS. At Simphiwe Radebe __ on YouTube, and you'd see it. Cool. So this function will now return whatever the response will be from the API, right? So we want the response, and then we return the response dot text. So we just take the response as is, right? But then once that's done, we want to now also get basically the response that we got now is our data. So we'll say function. Why am I saying undefined? Function, and this will be data, and in our data there's something we want to check. So if you didn't watch the video, if you did watch the video, they told us that if we get from our data we get a 1, that means our response or our call was successful. If our call is successful, it means the API key was valid. But if it's not a 1, then obviously it means it's an invalid API key, right? So for us to do that, you want to create an app. Sorry, where do I start? Just hit me up in the DMs. I'll assist you, but you can still watch what we're doing. We're just starting with websites to learn the basics, then we move on to apps later on. Cool. Oh yeah, so I was saying, after this is done, right? Once this, you don't sleep, yo. Ish, I don't sleep, Tad. Angry, I need to make the money. I need to hustle, like you said. I need to hustle. So I'm hustling. Alright, cool. So if our response is 1, so if the data, so basically whatever we got here gets passed into here, right? So now we want to check if our data is 1, then we want to do something, right? Meaning it's successful. So if data, okay, cool, Kakleho. The live has been long. It's not been that long actually. How long has it been? 1 hour. It's not that long. It's better than other days. I'm ending at 10. It's 10 minutes left. Okay, if the data is 1, so we're basically checking if it's 1, then we want to do something. I mean, if it's successful, then we want to set our API key to whatever the input, so whatever the user entered as our API key now, because now we know that's our API key. Then now we want to also add in our local storage. In our local storage, what we want to add is the set item. So we want to set a specific item, and for set item, it requires a key and value. So key being, how will you remember it, or what's the unique identifier for it, and what's the value for that specific key. So the key for us will be API key, the same way we set it up here, because that's what we were looking for, right? So it's API key with a small letter K, sorry, API key with a small letter A, capital K, and then comma API key being the value of whatever we just got as a response, right? And once that is done, we can do show contacts, and then we can say get contacts. Right, so we're basically calling these functions to say, okay, since we've got our API key, you can now go ahead and show the contacts page, and then you can now get our contacts. Meaning you can do you can do the call to get our contacts. All right, and then what we'll have now is an else, and in this else we'll add an alert. So if whatever we got back was not a 1, meaning clearly it was unsuccessful, we now show an alert to the user that they entered an invalid API key, right? So we'll just say invalid API key entered. Not yet, but definitely we can, if you want to, we can definitely do that, Mox. We can definitely go ahead with that as well. Right, so this is now done. We first done our first whatever we got from the API, we got a response, and the moment we got the response, we return it and use that same response um for this next function. So whatever we get here, we're now checking if our data is 1, meaning if it's successful, then we're setting our API key and starting to run some functions. Then once all of that is done, if we did not get a 1, it means we're unsuccessful, then we'd have an alert with the invalid. So we show the user that whatever you entered was incorrect. So how I knew this is 1, basically what whoever creates an API would have API docs, right? So when I watched the videos, because I couldn't do this without watching some of the videos, right? So when I watched the videos, they said if you get a 1, then it's successful, meaning your call is successful, right? So 1 is our success indicator, basically. Cool. Now you also want to be able to catch specific errors. So you can have a dot catch. This is after your then. You can have a dot catch, and you'll write a function here, and this function will take an error. Okay, perfect, no problem. This function will take an error, and then all we'll do is if we get an error, we wanna alert the user and say there was an error validating your API key, then please try again. Right, so that's what we're doing here. So we have now validated our API key, so this will do all the necessary checks for us, and then once all that is done, we are basically good to go. Any questions so far on this before we okay, there's 5 minutes. What's next? Show page. Yeah, we'll do show page and then we'll end it. Any questions on this part? This is like a bit important. So this is what actually drives our entire um our stuff before everything else, but this is how we get our actual API, or yeah, our API key. Check our API key. Any questions, comments, concerns? We've got 5 minutes left. Unless you're still copying. I don't know if you're still copying. You miss this part is about, oh sorry to ask, this part is about, so here we're doing API calls, so how we can call an API and get data back from the specific API. So API is the application programming interface. So that's basically something that interacts between your backend and gives you some information you can use on your front end. Easiest way I can put it. 100%, 100%. No, 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 don't type them, don't type them. So those are just hints. So it's basically hints-ish. Let me try and disable them, yeah. So those are just hints. What happens is WebStorm just shows you hints so you can remember or see what certain things are. Hence, I like it so much. But yeah, don't type those things. It's telling you that this is a promise and it's the type of, it's a promise and it's a type of string. This was a promise and it was a type of void. Yes, that's an API. Katlego. So yes, Shane, don't add that. We don't type those stuff. I've removed the hints. I've tried to remove as much as I can. But cool, let's quickly move on to the next part. Guys will tell me if you're stuck. So here what we want to quickly do is have a function to show different pages. So we'll have show different. Okay, so this function is to show different pages. So we'll say function and we'll have show page and also have a page ID. So we expect a page ID, right? Now for this one, what we want to first do is want to hide all the pages at first, right? So that we don't show multiple pages, right? So at first we'll just reset it by hiding all the pages. So we'll have a constant variable which is available only in this function and we'll name it pages. This will be equal to our document.query selector all, and we want to select all of the documents that have a .page class to them, right? Then so we want to now run a quick for loop. So for each page, right, we want to take the page dot class list and remove the class called active. So all this is doing, it's gonna loop within each page. So what we're doing is we're saying we want to get for each. Yes, it's so much better, way way better. Don't know why people still use VS Code. I don't know why people still use VS Code. And Bauer, if you hear, you're the one that introduced me to all these things. But cool. Yeah. So this is just doing a for loop. It's just like iterating between all the pages, and then it's setting the first iterator that this is page one. From page one, remove active. Then it moves to the next page two. From page two, page three. From page three, etc. So however many there is, it will move this active. So this active is what we added here. This active basically it removes them all in case there were multiple actives. Then all we want to now do is show a selected page. So all we want to do is show a selected page, right? And to do this, we'll now do document dot const line. Which const line? Document dot get element by ID, and by ID we want to get his page ID, right? Then we want to now do the class list of that page ID and add the active class. Add the active class. What do you mean it has some which line of const? There's many consts. Is it this one of pages? Just check if you wrote it correctly. It's const pages is equal to document dot query selector all open brackets single quotes dot page single quote close bracket and a semicolon. So this is just for show page, right? Okay, cool. Let's just do the last one, two, three. Okay, that's a but let's try and do these few ones first. Okay, after show page, we'll have a function that does show context, right? And show context is just to show the context, right? So we'll now use this function we just created called show page and give it the ID of context page. So that's the ID we set for our context page here. Red lines under equals dot. Yes, yeah, they told you all about VS Code, which I understand, but the problem is this has paid versions as well, so I think that's another thing. Unless you're a student, you can't get it for free or use it for free. You can't use it. You can't use the pro version on commercial stuff. Okay, so all this will do is now it will pass in this ID in here and do this specific function, and now and the trim. How far are you? Just check again that you didn't add any of these hints, because the hints might be the issue. Yeah, so show this will just call show page, and show page will now pass in. We'll pass in what this will be for context, right? So we'll pass in the ID, then this will now come in here, say for context page, we want to make this active, right? So remove everything as active and then make it active. Then we'll do the same for show what is it for show add contacts. So we'll have another one function show add contacts. Okay, and this will be same thing, show page, and this will be add contact page. And then all want to remember the add context page was a form, right? So we also want to clear the form. So to clear the form, we'll just do a document dot get element by ID, and we want to get the specific form being the add contact form, and then we do dot reset and close it. All right. Hmm? I think so. I don't know. All right, cool. So this is the reset, right? So just resetting the entire form. And yeah, then we'll quickly do one for the edit. Then we'll wrap it there. Yes, there is a WhatsApp group. Let's see if I can get the link. How do you share on here? Oh, there's a QR code I can actually. This is the WhatsApp group. You can just scan this and then I think it will allow you to join. Just do about 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 6. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Okay, the last one is a function, and the function will be show edit contact. Show edit contact, and this will be contact ID. Art for you, can you send a picture of your code so I can see? Can you send a picture of your code so I can see? So this will have the edit. This will have the edit contact page. So it will just be the edit contact page. Obviously, we're gonna have another function called load our data to edit. So load contact for edit. So we'll write that code and we'll use the contact ID to actually get that information. So the ID is our unique identifier. And yeah, we'll end it there. Got the second one to work. Okay, you just show me. We'll end it there for now. That's it for today. What we're gonna do tomorrow is do the get. Actually, tomorrow we'll finish the entire thing because there's a few functions left. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 functions left actually. There's 6 functions left. Any other questions so far before I end it here? I'll push this code so that you guys are updated. Okay, I know that's the CSS. Okay, so mm, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Okay, ending it there. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you all. I shall see you guys tomorrow, 7 at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. will be live to finish because yeah, 7 p.m. we'll start at 7 p.m. Thank you everyone for joining. I shall see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m.